Oh boy! First and foremost, congratulations to the two-time reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Not that that's out the way. The Pittsburgh Steelers might as well get kicked out the motherfucking NFL. We should put in an application to represent Pittsburgh in the UFL. Matter of fact, kick them out of Pennsylvania, because if that's the type of brand of football you're going to go and play, we don't even need to be on the damn field. Let me tell you something right now. We're not bottom feeders in the NFL, but we might as well be. Because keep in mind, granted, there's a ton of different teams that go out on Sundays, and the fan bases doesn't really expect them to win. The organization would actually prefer if they lose, so you can go higher up on the draft stock. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't have that luxury, if you will, the privilege, as other individuals would call it, this late in the season where you know exactly where it is that you're going. You should never go into weeks anticipating a loss, let alone cheering for a loss. However, when you're in our odd position, where you're middle of the pack, you're mediocre, and it just seems as if there's a comfortability with being mediocre. I would much rather if we were at the bottom of the league, and I'll tell you why. Because what is the goal of the season in Pittsburgh year in, year out? It's Super Bowl or bust. Does this look like a team that can go and win a championship? Does this look like a team that can go and step out on Mondays, Sundays, Saturdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever day you just so happen to go and play football and win meaningful games? No. Kansas City dog walked us. And you know what's even crazier about it? This was their best game of the season. Granted, they're two-time champs. Two-time reigning champs. Three-time champion from their quarterback, whatever the case may be. 4 Super Bowls in the last 6 years. But they struggled and had to escape Carolina, Denver, Atlanta, Cincinnati, all of these different teams. They were comfortable against us. No issues whatsoever. They could have rolled out Len Dawson out the casket and he could have thrown for 2 touchdowns. Tony Gonzalez could have walked off the damn set at NFL Network and scored a couple of motherfucking touchdowns. Chris Jones, their best defender, did not even play. And somehow their pass rush was better without him against us. Tied their season high with 5 sacks. We absolutely suck when it matters. And I've said this time and time again, the biggest problem that we happen to have in this Tomlin regime is when we play against a team we should beat, we lose. When we play against a team that is going to be incredibly competitive, that it should be competitive against, we're not competing. We're middle of the pack parading as a team that's supposed to be a contender. And guess what? In 3 weeks' time, we've absolutely reversed all of the momentum that we built. And I know there's a couple of people who's going to sit around and cope and say, well, Adonis, you've always said all you care about is just a ticket to the dance. And you're absolutely right. As long as you have a berth in the postseason, it's any given Sunday. But let me tell you something right now. There's absolutely no reason to have any confidence into any given Sunday going into whenever it is that the postseason just so happens to kick off in 2 weeks. Because who the fuck can we beat? Oh, well, we dropped down to the 7th seed. You think we can beat Buffalo? Fuck no. All right, we drop down to the 6th seed. Maybe we could take on, Baltimore again if they mess around and go on and win the division. Because as far as I'm concerned, the North is already taken away. Houston can mess around and win today, and then we take care of business next week and, beat Cincinnati, and all of a sudden, hey, we're champions. It doesn't matter. We play Baltimore again. I promise you they'll motherfucking dog walk us if this is the way that we're going to go out there and play football. We drop down to that 5 seed. Let's go play over there in Houston. You think we're going to beat that team? Well, they banged up. I don't give a damn. We can't beat anybody right now. Roll out the undefeated 1972 Miami Dolphins in 2024. Larry Zonka, old ass, on a damn crutch, maybe in a walker, will go for a 50-yard touchdown on our defense because we can't tackle. Let's get into the doggone game. First and foremost, offense looked god-awful, but let me tell you something right now. Russell Wilson looks like it's his first year in Denver all over again, and Nathaniel Hackett is on the sideline calling plays. This was the worst 3-week stretch that I have seen from a motherfucking Steeler quarterback since Mitch Trubisky. Kenny Pickett played better football in a 3-game stretch than what we've seen with Russell Wilson these past 3 weeks. God awful. Holding on to the football too doggone long. Now granted, I will tell you this much, the offensive line, y'all got to get it together. Because there need to be warrants out for your arrest for cruel and unusual punishment that you had your quarterback having to endure back there behind the offensive line. God awful. Nobody can block up front. Every single one of you motherfuckers should be denied the access to the damn shower room. You should stink for a week. You go around your wives, your girlfriends, your children, your significant others, your contemporaries, your loved ones, whatever the case just so happened to be. They should have to willfully let you know you stink every single moment of the goddamn day, because that's how terrible that y'all went out there and played today. And moreover, the last 3 weeks, everybody's able to penetrate our damn offensive line. You could get a motherfucking chastity belt around these motherfuckers, and still, they're gonna find a way to P. Diddy penetrate our doggone keisters and get into the backfield. We are ass up front. Now, as for the running game, let me tell you something, Najee, hey, fam, you might have just messed around and lost your job. As far as I'm concerned, Jaylen Warren is the #1 running back over there in Pittsburgh. And I appreciate you and everything you done did, but you can't seem to activate your dreadlock powers whatsoever. Granted, they not open up too much motherfucking holes that's there, but you slipping and sliding the last couple of weeks rather than breaking tackles. It's getting ridiculous. Then through the air, Pat Fryermuth can't hold on to the football. How about we just gonna fumble it and get it ripped out of our damn arms? For what reason? Protect the football. 2 hands on the ball at all times. George Pickens, welcome back. We didn't mess around and have no huge dynamic plays. We'll talk about the referee's whistle being a bit premature a little bit later. But one way or another, offensively, we look like ass. And Russell Wilson, you are indeed the prime suspect as to why this transpired. Because this brand of football is not going to win us games, let alone contend in the postseason where it's the best 14. And I'll tell you something right now, it's super fraud alert for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Defensively, TJ Watt, another motherfucking goose egg. Granted, you was getting held all damn day. Jawan Taylor was damn near inside of your skin. If you checked his damn blood type, it might just match yours with the amounts of times in which he was damn near inside your shoulder pad. Highsmith, where's the big plays? We ain't touched Mahomes and sacked this man. Only times we touched him was late or when it did not matter. We can't cover on 3rd down and get off the field when it matters. You take a look at Kansas City only converting, 3 of 10 on 3rd downs, but every time that they needed to go and convert at one point, whether it been a 2nd and long, whether it been a 3rd and short, whether it been a 3rd and long, or a more important kind of moment in the game, we can't get a stop whatsoever. Cannot get a stop. We need to get splash plays. Patrick Queen, guess what? TJ Watt makes a play, gets his hand up, fucking hits the football. It's twirling in the air. You can't catch it? Maybe we ought to get you some decorating paper. Maybe you ought to wrap your motherfucking hands because they're just for decoration. They're clearly not for catching footballs because you can't catch interceptions that's falling right into your damn arms. You got ornaments on your hands. Cut this man's hands off and give it to somebody who needs a prosthetic because evidently Patrick Queen don't know how to use them. The season was done for you after we beat Baltimore in week 11. After that game, you've done absolutely nothing. Ridiculous. Cannot make plays. We're a split second late on every single opportunity to get Mahomes or any quarterback for that matter down. Whether it had been Jalen Hurts a few weeks ago, whether it had Lamar Jackson 4 days ago, or Patrick Mahomes today. We cannot seem to get after the motherfucking quarterback. Then in the secondary, we can't cover. Everybody gets open. Everybody gets open. It could be Juju, it could be Worthy, it could be Watson, it could be anybody. Gets beat right off the motherfucking line. It's a 3rd and long, 2nd and long, whatever the case may be. Dante Jackson, welcome back from injury. 1-on-1 with motherfucking Watson. This man runs right past you. You over here got dreadlocks for no reason. Shave this man. I want him in the barbershop expeditiously. You better be out here looking like a motherfucking mole rat. No body hair whatsoever. I'm aerodynamic. Who gives a fuck? Terrible. Special teams, no plays being made. And we can't fall on football. Every single time over the course of the last 2 weeks where the ball has been loose, or I should say the last 2 games, because we did mess around and fall on the football against Philadelphia. We just ain't turned those some bitches into points. But we can't seem to get ourselves the ball in our hands. And all we do is turn it over. Now let's talk about the crucial moments of the game. First and foremost, opening drive. We ain't protecting. Russell Wilson takes the sack. Then we end up having a 3 and out to kick off the motherfucking game. That's not the way to start a game whatsoever, because you're starting out flat. Kansas City does what? March down the field, back-to-back drives, and go and get points on the board. You know what we did in between that? Well, we had a promising drive. We went down the field. We had what appeared to be a motherfucking touchdown. And then what happens? What happens? Well, no, watch them want to hold. Let me just tuck my hands inside your motherfucking jersey. How about you block without holding somebody and back us up? And then what does Russell Wilson do? Play a little bit of hero ball and force a ball down the middle. In what, double coverage, triple coverage, doesn't matter. All I saw was a whole lot of Chiefs around one Pittsburgh Steelers. You know you could throw the ball away, right? You know you could just throw it into the ground, right? You know you could possibly try to utilize your legs and go run somewhere, right? You know you could maybe try to bail and get outside the pocket and then throw the football away, right? You ain't got to sit over there and try to force it like if motherfucking Brett Favre in 1998. Then afterwards, Patrick Queen can't seem to catch interceptions. Okay, cool. Then we fast forward later on in the motherfucking game. Here we are inside the second half. One possession motherfucking game. Trying to go and drive down the motherfucking field. Or I should say, trying to stop the Chiefs from driving down the field. And this is where the officiating comes into play. Pass caught by who is it? Hollywood Brown? Clear incomplete pass. Hold on, I got a question for the NFL. What's the purpose of replay assist? Now, by no means am I sitting here and saying the referees gave the game to Kansas City. Not at all. We got absolutely dog walked. But let's call a spade a spade. What's the purpose of replay assist? How many games have we seen over the course of the past few years? But primarily this year, where you have offenses that have a questionable outcome of a play. Rush to the line to go and get the snap off before the challenge flag comes out from the opposition, only to have the officials hold the football or immediately halt the hoopla so you can have replay assist take a look at it. We didn't get that luxury. We didn't have that privilege. That did not happen this past Wednesday on Christmas. Why is that? Because Kansas City was able to run to the line, take the snap, run a next play when, of course, the populace didn't get a replay, but New York certainly definitely had the angles to go and confirm if it was a catch or not when it clearly wasn't. So what is the barometer or the understanding in the offices about if replay assist is going to be called into play or not? Because what is it there for if you're not going to utilize it when you have a clear, controversial call on the field where they called it complete? It was clearly incomplete. You could have easily stopped it just to review it, and if in the event it was indeed a completed catch, you move on with the game. It literally serves you no harm to stop the game to confirm because you implemented this, the NFL, for replay assist. But that didn't happen. And what ends up happening after that? The Chiefs march all the way down the field and get themselves a touchdown. It was from that particular moment I said, oh, this game is done. Because right after that, what happened? We had the fumble, I believe, from Freiermuth. That was right after that led to another touchdown. That was pretty much game. Travis Kelce setting records on us. Over 1,000 catches in his career. Passing Tony Gonzalez for the most receiving touchdowns in Chiefs history. Everybody gets a chance to make history against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody gets a chance to make history against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kansas City been escaping from wins, or I should say from losses, all year. But they comfortable against us. We find ways to lose games. And this brand of football is not only not winning football, it's not playoff football, and it's not Pittsburgh Steelers football. Every single motherfucker with a helmet needs to be slapped. Nobody played the game today with the will to win, let alone played with a fire to not lose. This type of shit right here is why we call for, and now, Mike Tomlin to lose his job, or possibly future endeavor. Why is that? Not to say that he's not a good coach, but he's not a great coach. That's the difference. You're a good coach, but the great coaches don't get embarrassed like this on a consistent basis, let alone 3 consecutive games. Against Philly, 11 snaps in the first half. We can't get a stop on defense. Against Baltimore, lose by 3 scores. Can't seem to get ourselves a takeaway. And then tonight, against Kansas City, we can't seem to move the football on offense and execute. We can't seem to get a stop on defense. And lastly, just regarding the referees, because I did mention I was going to talk about it earlier. George Pickens had a reception that went for 2 yards. And as he was fighting for additional yards, and here came, the Chiefs trying to go and gang tackle him, he escaped. He got a premature whistle. Why? Why? Now, granted, he's not the only person who's fallen victim to this, because we've seen premature whistles happen throughout the doggone year. Furthermore, we were a victim of, the whistle not being called prematurely. So I guess that's where I'll throw my hands up, because the fumble by Jalen Warren against Washington, the whistle should have already been blown, but it wasn't. So, okay. This situation, the whistle shouldn't have been blown, but it was blown. So I'm like, all right, referees can't always get that right. The catch, though, from Hollywood Brown or whoever it was that clearly was not a catch, and replay assistant didn't step in, that's a motherfucking problem. But the bigger problem is Pittsburgh continuing to not know how to play football on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We are absolute ass. And let me tell you something right now. If you were to trot out the New York Giants again, we might lose that game. To Tommy DeVito, to Tim Boyle, whoever the fuck it just so happens to be. Dare I say, we might not be able to beat the best team in college football, whoever that may be. Now, granted, it's grown men against children going through adolescence, but for all intents and purposes, or I should say young adults, but for all intents and purposes, that's how bad I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's legitimately how bad. And it's not an overreaction because, again, like I said prior, the expectations for this team isn't just, let's clinch a playoff berth. It's win a Super Bowl. And when you know how good you can be, it becomes even more frustrating. Because, call it what it is, box score will be what it is. Scoreboard will be what it is. But anybody who watched this game, we had moments in which we could have won this game. Now, granted, 31 other teams in the league could probably say the same thing for numerous different losses that they just so happen to have. But it's a pattern for us now. It's not an isolated moment where it's like, okay, you tune into this game and damn, we shot ourselves in the foot. We made some mistakes. We're not executing the right way. The play calling doesn't seem to be there. Oh, well, the play call is right there, but the execution on the field is not there. It seems to be a consistent situation and problem for us in prominent games. Because when Pittsburgh loses games, we lose games at the worst times. This looking like 2020 all over again. At least in 2020, we kind of knew, hey, we're escaping left and right and getting these W's that we really haven't earned, let alone deserve, right? But this season, we were able to go out there, get ourselves some motherfucking W's, but in the final stretch of the season, in the most important games of the year, we come up short. And not only do we come up short, we embarrass ourselves. Prime time in front of the world, because there's not a single casual fan who is sitting there probably turning on the TV, watching Pittsburgh for the first time like, oh, this is a playoff team? Oh, they're one and done. Who here believes we can win a playoff game? Put your hand down. You're lying. So as far as I'm concerned, next week, game against Cincinnati, it all depends on what the outcome of Baltimore and Houston is for. Either you're playing to win the AFC North, or you're playing for a 5th seed in the playoffs. All I know is we have 0 confidence, 0 cohesiveness, and 0 desire to impose our will on other football teams with the way that we're playing right now. There shouldn't be a smile on anybody's face. As far as I'm concerned, Christmas is ruined. Maybe not so much for us, the fan base. Some of us in the fan base probably not feeling very good following that doggone game. But for y'all, I don't know how you can sit around, be around the family and smile. Well, it's just a game, it's your job, you do what you got to do. But there's a level of pride that you got to have to play this game. And for 3 consecutive weeks, that's been called into question. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what kind of man am I? Because right now, every single one of y'all looking like some bitches. And y'all got bitched again. Next week, last game of the season against Cincinnati, regular season that is, it's a guaranteed playoff berth, right? That's afterwards. But as far as I'm concerned, who gives a damn about that? Your pride is on the line, gentlemen. What are you going to do about it? And remember, we on Hard Knocks. So week after week after week, they've got a microscope, or dare I say, quite a large camera showcased to the masses regarding what y'all got going on in the locker room and in our facility. And if y'all not frustrated about the outcomes, well, why the hell should the fan base give it? Y'all got 1 week, and then ultimately it's do or die. And as far as I'm concerned, the way y'all playing football right now, we got 2 more weeks left in the season. And I'm as optimistic can be as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But the way y'all playing right now, downright depressing. It's not even worth finishing the football game and watching through and through. So y'all got to figure out what kind of men y'all want to be moving forward. This right here, this ain't it. Steelers on 3. Merry Christmas on 6. 1, 2, 3, Steelers. 4, 5, 6, Merry Christmas, huh? Whew, it's a great Christmas day. We're all so happy to be around the family and watch Pittsburgh play, right? What a game to watch. Ridiculous. I better get it fucking together. Get it together. All these knockout commentaries had me thinking, why don't I knock someone out myself? So I came up with Knockdown Tea, guaranteed to help you sleep longer, sleep better, relax, and restore. Passion fruit flavored, so you know it's good. Simply take it 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep, and our slogan is 1 cup down for the count, 2 cups, throw in the towel. So make sure you click the link in my description, head over to knockdowntea.com, and grab your first pack today. Hey, I appreciate you watching the entire video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button on the way out if you haven't already. And on top of that, hit that notification bell as well. For whatever reason, YouTube's only showing my videos to 20% of my subscribers. So if you have already turned on the notification bell, turn it off, turn it back on. If you never turn it on, turn it on. I appreciate you.